I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Hey, happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here, along with special guest co-star. Special co-star?
What did you say?
I don't know. Special guest
host co-star?
Special guest co-star, like you're on the Love Boat.
Oh,
it's Tania Richard.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Actor, writer, producer, podcaster, Tania Richard, activist. Throwing them in there. Hello.
Thank you. Hi.
How are you?
You were talking about Love Boat and made me think of Dr. Odyssey. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
This is a new show on ABC, Ryan Murphy with Joshua Jackson. I know way too much about this show. I have not even watched it.
About Joshua Jackson. I like him.
He's nice. It is a show about a doctor on a cruise ship.
So it's basically the Love Boat, yes, but with just Bernie Capel's character.
Yes, exactly.
Talk about pulling a name out of thin air right there. Yeah, Doc. What was Doc's last name on there?
Oh, who
I was going to say
knows?
Doc Severinsen, but that was the man who...
Doc Severinsen would be Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There we are. Off to a great start.
There's Dr. Trapper John, M.D.
Trapper John, M.D.
Gregory Harrison.
Gregory Harrison, who played, what was that, Boomer? Was that his name? He had No. He had a cute name on there because he was cute. No, Boomer was on St. Elsewhere.
St. Elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole thing was in the child's eye.
Yeah, how dare they?
I loved that ending.
Spoiler alert, the end of St. Elsewhere.
Because everybody is running to stream St. Elsewhere because people love Ed Begley Jr. and they want to see the origin story of Denzel Washington.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Denzel.
We know far too many casts of medical procedurals from the 70s and 80s.
On and on. Don't get me started. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
No, it's great. Well, Tanya's here because Ellen's off. She went to the Hollywood Bowl last night to go see Joni Mitchell.
Oh.
I know. I am more than a little jealous of that.
That's cool.
Joni, yeah. Because,
Scott is pointing at his watch. TikTok?
Well, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Joni. She's been kind of.
I mean,
Look, I was there for her 75th birthday.
Were you?
Yes.
What do you mean, at a show?
Jerry and I flew to Los Angeles to go. There was a 75th birthday tribute concert for Joni Mitchell. We went there, and we were there on her actual birthday, which I think is like November 3rd.
Really?
It's coming up. Yeah. And it was amazing. And Joni was there. We breathed the same air.
Was she there with old girl who's been bringing her all over the place?
Brandi Carlile.
That's right.
Yeah, Brandi Carlile was there. But, I mean, Joni didn't perform because she had not been in good health. And so she did this, and like Rufus Wainwright was there, and Seal was there. Seal, oh my gosh.
I love Rufus Wainwright.
I love Rufus Wainwright as well. And I love Seal. Seal to me.
Sure.
Amazing. Like, who knew that I needed to hear him sing Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell?
Did they all sing it?
Everybody came out and they did their own numbers. You can actually watch, there's a PBS special about Joni Mitchell's 75th birthday celebration. And we were there on the day.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was great. And Chris Christopherson was there.
Oh, my
the late, great Chris
goodness.
Christopherson. He was not doing well. And that's when Brandi Carlile, my heart grew 18 sizes bigger because of her. Because Chris Christopherson, before he died, had Lyme disease, and it affected his memory.
Okay.
And he was up there singing "Case of You," and
Do not tell me.
She just
came
went
in.
up. He was kind of like just strumming along, and she came up behind him and put her hand on his shoulder and kept the beat with him, and would kind of feed him the lines and would sing along with him.
I have to go. It's been nice. I need to
know,
lay
right?
down now.
Bye. I know. And then he died this year.
He did. But,
wow.
I'm going to cough now. I'm going to hit the red
cough button. There we are. Come on. Yeah. Nobody can hear that. Whisper quiet. Whisper quiet. You can still totally hear it. I know. I get choked up too. I get choked up about that whole thing too.
I wasn't really getting choked up. It's my
You were
terrible.
just hawking stuff
my
up.
long haul. God love it.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
Oh girl.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Hi everyone.
Hello. So anyway, we've got a great show for you today.
We did say hello, right?
We did say
I
hello.
never remember if we actually said hello.
I said hello. You just kind of looked at me like, what did you say? And I said, yeah, hello. I called you a co-star.
I'm a host co.
Yeah.
That's right.
Co-host.
Yes, co-host.
No, I said the guest co-star. Which I don't know, again, which led us down Love Boat to Dr. Odyssey to St. Elsewhere to Boomer from Trapper John MD, which is oddly enough is a spinoff of MASH. What? Wait, what?
Oh my God, you're right.
I know.
What's the same?
I know.
Oh, but it wasn't. Oh,
Nope. Yep. Mm-hmm. Whoa.
That is
All
so
right.
meta.
I know. There we are. And speaking of meta, you can find us on Facebook.
Oh, wow. Wow, that was good.
There we are. But I should tell you who's actually going to be on the show.
You mean it's not just us free associating?
It will be us free associating, which is like kind of the best. I love having you on the show because it's just...
Oh my goodness.
Whatever
it's
happens.
It's just a 2-hour ride. I love it.
It is. So we coming up on the show today, the Chicago International Film Festival is underway and filmmakers are vying for the Hugo Award as part of the festival's Outlook series. We chat with festival programmer Sophie Gordon, and it's spooky season. Ooh. And Horrorwood, True Crime in Tinseltown, the award-winning podcast hosted by Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett, two Chicagoans, that delves into the dark underbelly of Hollywood, is taking its captivating and spooky stories to the stage for the very first time in Chicago on October 25th at 7:30 p.m. at the Venus Cabaret Theater. And Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett join us in the second hour. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. That number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we are coming at you live. Just head on over there and give us a click and a like and a share and all that good stuff. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and our sister network Heartland Signal on the Faceplace, TikToks, X, whatever, Instagrams, Threads, whatever, all that stuff.
All that stuff. Are you on Threads?
In theory.
I am not. I haven't gone. I haven't done it.
I did. Yeah. I don't know. I'm really like...
Right.
Look, we're going to be talking about like how to prepare your mental health, like mental self-health, self-care this show, because it's crazy out there.
Yeah,
right now.
It's going to be a really intense
couple of weeks, 16 days.
Weeks. Well, and then
afterwards, the aftermath.
The painful. Well, but also how long it'll probably take to even be able to declare.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a while. We all know that.
Stressful.
We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Remember the good old days when you would like find out that night? Yeah. I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Well, because...
Or it felt like it did. Maybe it didn't.
No, it did, except for the 2000
Bush Gore.
Bush Gore.
Ooh, that was the beginning.
The dangling chads.
That was the worst.
That was the worst.
And
now it's the worst.
It's worse than the worst.
Now it's worser than the worst.
It's the worstest.
They should make a sauce out of that. A Worcestershire sauce for election. That's what I will do for my election night. It'll be nothing made but with Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, my goodness.
Because everything is the Worcestershire right now. Anyway, language is my toy, which, you probably saw on display this week because we did Right Club.
We did Right Club.
This week. You won your battle.
I won.
Yeah. So wait, real quick, but for our folks out there, Right Club is a live lit event that happens the third Tuesday of every month at the G-Man Tavern in the heart of Wrigleyville. It's a fabulous venue. It's a fabulous show. It's two writer combatants who each get a theme and they write 7 minutes of stuff, and then they perform that for you, and then the audience chooses who wins. Highly recommend you go and check this show out. So lovely, so much fun.
1 hour. It's like
you're in, you're out.
Such a great little
evening. It is the best time for like people who want to get home and go to bed.
Exactly.
At a reasonable time.
Big laughs. I mean,
big feels too.
Big feels. This was an excellent
It was a very
night.
Big feels this night.
And it just Sorry.
I know, it's all right.
And there was just this range of silly to really
thoughtful,
provocative,
poignant.
Thoughtful. I did
you
win,
won.
I felt very, very satisfied.
Zombies versus ghosts.
Zombies versus ghosts. I was defending zombies, and my competitor at the top said, "I'm going to kick your
booty."
And I was like, "Oh, it's on.
It's on.
You ain't going to be telling me you're going to kick my, you know what?"
I know.
It was really fun. But yours was awesome too. I mean, it was just like everybody's was awesome.
Oh, mine! I was so happy with
Yeah.
that. Like, because it was trick versus treat, and I had to start off everything. I hate tricks. I
Yeah.
really hate tricks. I think they are mean. They are deceitful. Some people might call it cunning. I just call it just like mean and deceit.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of riffing on that. And then I got dirty and blue.
And then he got dirty.
Then I got dirty and blue and everything. And but that's how I roll.
blow it. That was so funny.
No, blue.
Oh, like
as in blue comedy. Yeah.
Oh, got it. I thought you said you blew it.
No, I was freaking awesome.
Yeah, you were awesome.
I was awesome. But then my competitor is up there like doing treat. It's like using allegory of going trick-or-treating in a white neighborhood for the first time.
Yes.
And it is beautifully written and so eloquent. Like it's just like it is so literary.
That's a tough one, yeah.
And I was like,
I know.
all right, Aziza.
But you never know. Well, that's one of the things I love about Right Club as well, is how diverse it is.
And you can figure out and you're up to interpreting how you're thinking.
Well, you can interpret it any way that you want. And Corvette, who curates the evening, always has this diverse lineup. It's one of those things. It's so refreshing to not just see an all white group of folks. And she combines newbies with people. I've done it 5 times now.
Oh, wow. How many times have you won?
I've won 3, thank you. The
So you
one
have all
time
your
that I
little
didn't
lemon
win
cups.
was a total injustice, and even the person I was competing against was shocked.
Oh.
Which is why it's tough,
All right.
because, if you have a lot of friends in the audience, it doesn't really matter what you actually say.
It's true.
I'm not bitter. But we can't recommend it enough, right?
Yeah, it's a fabulous night. But what were you so happy about your... I love that you had zombies, and I also loved that I'm like, please bring up your Haitian
Yes.
Please bring up your Haitian roots.
Yes, I brought it back to how it's traced back to voodoo in Haiti, and made sure everybody knew that we don't eat pets, but we do eat brains.
Yes.
So, yeah, man, that was a high. I was high off of that.
It was a fun
next
night.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so interesting is because Jerry came to support, and
Yes.
Ellen was there.
I know,
Which, by the
Ellen was
way,
there.
I still can't believe that you
Oh my
and
gosh.
Ellen Miller had never met in person before.
It was so funny. So she comes, we say hi. And then I sat back down and I was like, that's the first time I've ever seen her in person. I've only ever seen her on our Zoom calls when I hop on for a quick Tanya's take. So... yeah, that was so fun to see her. So fun to have Jerry there.
Yeah, and Bill was there.
And Bill, my husband,
your
was
husband was
there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was what was so interesting for me, because it was my first time doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to the stand-up world.
Right.
And... I've developed, I guess, kind of a tough skin.
Yeah.
So it's if something doesn't work, okay, whatever. I don't know you. I'll never see you again.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And, so I felt really, really great about it. Again, Aziza, she was just so smart. It was so smart. It was smart and gorgeously
It was
written.
really good.
Mine was smart-ish and potty humor throughout.
Which
I was
loved
great.
yours.
And highly, I was I'm not
Yeah.
bemoaning anything.
Yeah.
My performance was great, but Jerry afterwards so let's talk about it and develop into this whole. I'm no. I'm
No,
that's
that's what
great.
it is. And it's disposable in the sense that I thought about that because I really loved my piece. I really went for I just really leaned into the verses aspect, and it was silly and how zombies are smarter and more interesting than ghosts, whatever. And then it's over and done, and it's in the ether.
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral, exactly. And I just
See
think,
that I am smart. That's
I know.
a good word.
I was going to say ephemera. We're so on the same.
We are the same person.
But so Jared wanted to give you feedback.
No, he's let's talk about it. How do you feel? I'm look, I was funny. I got my laughs. I did my thing.
Yeah.
She was much smarter and much more literary, and should have won.
Well, I don't know.
And
Again, I don't know if it's that she was smarter, but
well,
it's
I
just
know,
the way the two things
the juxtaposition of the two
line
pieces,
up, right? The alignment.
100%.
Yeah.
But like, I keep going back to, I was very, very fortunate to work years ago with with a director named Jonathan Pitts, who is a big person in the improv community. He started the Chicago Improv Festival years ago.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always take away from that, especially when it comes to like comedy and like performance, is that it's toilet paper. You just use it and then you flush it away. Then it goes away.
Yeah.
And so Jerry was like, let's talk. And I'm like, about what? I was hilarious and it was fun.
Well,
there we go. Are we going to order pizza?
It was so fun to see you up there.
Thank you.
I just had the biggest smile on my face. And it was just like, I love seeing my friends win, And it was
everybody
just like,
won that night.
In your element and just like owning the room. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was a great night, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Do you have a little special trophy room for your loving cup?
You get a miniature Tony. You get a miniature Tony. It's weird. I don't know how they do it, but you get a miniature Tony award. So yeah, I was excited.
Yeah.
You get a miniature trophy.
Trophy. Do you have like a little trophy case?
I have it in a little drawer.
In a drawer.
Little trophy drawer.
Do you ever put it on your little keychain? Because it is a tiny little loving cup.
But it is funny. It is perhaps disproportionately satisfying to win.
Right? I know. I'm like, where am I going to put that cup? I was thinking about like, Aziza, look out.
I know.
You better look over your shoulder when you're walking to your car because then we'll get that cup.
But now you're going to be doing a million more. And
Yeah, well, and we're both going to be doing You're Being Ridiculous in November.
That's right, yeah.
At the Venus Cabaret Theater, where Horrorwood is going to be performing.
Oh, right. So Jeremy Owens, he produces You're Being Ridiculous, so we'll both be telling stories in that.
About wow.
And the theme being wow. I'm so glad to see you.
Do you have a title of your... I've done You're Being Ridiculous before. Do you have a title? Yeah.
Do I have a title? I currently can't remember what mine is about.
Okay, well, mine is entitled "The Night I Huffed Oprah," and that is a little bit of a teaser there for you. And on that note, we should probably go to a break. Yes, "The Night I Huffed Oprah."
Whoa.
What?
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was what I say. But before we go to that break, this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you are purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg. After more than 2 excruciating years, mortgage interest rates are finally dropping. That's right. Mortgage interest rates are finally decreasing. And while 60% of Team Hochberg's competition are out of business, Team Hochberg's ready to help you, your family, your friends, co-workers, and neighbors reduce your rate and monthly payments. David would like to share 2 important facts. Number 1, you don't have to refinance with your current lender. And number 2, Team Hochberg's closing costs and interest rates are almost always lower than your current lender and online lenders like Rocket Mortgage. If you purchased a new home or refinanced your existing home within the past 2 years and your rates start with a 7 or an 8, call Team Hochberg now. Not when you get home, tomorrow, or next week. Call now for a complimentary mortgage analysis at 855-563-2843 or visit our website, 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and we're gonna keep talking on this trick motif.
Yeah.
When we get back. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hey everybody, it's Rayvon Owen, and you're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT. Scott Duff and Tania Richard is joining us. Writer, actor, podcaster, activist, producer. You are just a multi-hyphenate kind of gal.
You gotta be.
You gotta be.
Right?
It's hard out in these mean streets for creative folks.
It's hard out here for a sister. And if I don't do it, who will?
When you try to get the money for the rent.
Right?
I love that movie, Hustle
That is
and Flow.
an amazing movie.
It's so good.
Taraji P. Henson
in that movie.
Amazing movie. Terrence Howard. I worked with Terrence Howard. He is wild.
I bet.
And I said this to Bill so I could he is literally one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in person. It's crazy.
Man.
But then, like, what's on screen? There's certain people where if you see them in person, I'm like, oh, I see. The only place you could be is in the movies.
Right.
Right? And he's one of those.
Is it because his head's really big?
No, his head is not really big.
Because most people in the movies have really big heads.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
He is tall, which is unusual, as you know.
Yeah.
Mostly when we see Hollywood stars in person, they are about 5'3".
They're little people.
They're small.
It's
the trade-off if you're going to get to be famous. Not that there's anything wrong with being small, but
HR.
But I think about that with Tom Cruise. I really do. Like, is that the trade-off? You know, he is famously much smaller.
He's like 5'4".
He's like 5'4" or 5'6".
Yeah.
And I figure,
Great.
that is great.
Yeah,
do
it.
I think it has to be some sort of a trade-off.
I think maybe you're just more compact so you can like jump on buildings and things like Tom
Well,
Cruise.
and because men value height. So, that's the traight-off.
It's very
Or this
true.
culture values
Maybe
tall
that's
men.
why he was on the couch.
To look taller.
To look taller. While I huffed Oprah. Teaser. While I huffed a teaser.
What does that mean? Should I know what that means?
Smelling, huffing.
Oh, you smelled her.
Yeah.
Did she smell good?
Well, you'll have to find out.
Oh.
You'll have to find out in November.
What's your day? Well, it's far enough.
It's far enough away. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
That's all
Whatever
right.
this Friday
Mine's
is.
on the 23rd. Venice Cabaret.
Yeah, okay. Is that a Saturday?
It's a Saturday.
Okay, then I'm on the 22nd.
There you go.
There we are. Anyway, hey, wait, before we actually talk about stuff, I do have to talk about more non-stuff. And I want to thank big old shout out to Pam in the North Suburbs. Last week, Ellen and I were talking about family recipes that are being passed down from people. And I was bemoaning the fact that my grandmother is Swedish. She's Swedish. She's dead, but she's Swedish, I get to know if it was is or was. But she's Swedish.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anyway, but I lost her recipe for this pickled herring, this marinated herring dish that she would make and would torture the children, like all of us. Like, ugh, we didn't eat it. But now as an adult and like my culinary adventurous self is like, all right, let's do this. I couldn't find her recipe. And Pam from the North Suburbs called in and left a recipe with Paul.
That's
so
amazing.
I want to say thank you. Thank you so much, Pam, for doing that.
Have you made it yet, or?
No, well, it wasn't a complete recipe. It was kind of like, you do this, you do this, you do this. Look it up in the Swedish American cookbook. So I have kind of written out the ingredients, but I have no idea. And there was flour involved. I'm like, I don't know what this is for. Anyway,
Maybe
I felt like I was
sauce?
being tricked. There we are. But speaking of tricks, look, does anybody else feel like they're being tricked out there? Like you're being punked? How the election is 16 days away. How in the world can the polls be close? I don't understand it. Like how?
I don't believe in polls.
I know. I don't believe in polls either.
I
and
don't think
that's
they're really an accurate measure.
No, I know Devin over here actually did some polling for folks. He's like, people don't answer, or they're like, it's one demographic. It's usually the older people.
Yeah, right.
Legit. But like, so people, but it's one of those feelings that's like kind of like driving me a little kooky pants.
Mm-hmm.
Like this man, what else does he have to
I don't know.
do?
I don't know. I've never seen anything like it.
It is.
What is left for him to do to make people go,
Well, I was listening to some news today while I was walking my dog out, and somebody was saying like there might be a political strategy behind it where he's going out and just saying the most ridiculous things, the most extreme things, in order to motivate low information voters who don't usually show up at the poll.
Well,
and if he says these crazy things, that he might actually get people to come out.
He was literally quoted just this morning. I heard a clip of him saying something like, "Get the fat pig off the couch." Like, I guess talking to women about their fat pig husbands, getting them off the couch. Just get them to vote. Like, he just wants, like, anyone to, if they've never voted before, just go vote so I can win. That's like the message he's sending.
Yeah, and apparently talking about Arnold Palmer's junk is also another way to get people to the polls. It's so weird. It's just like, wait a second.
What's happening?
I don't know. Because I'm a gay man and I loved musical theater, I always thought that the rise of fascism would have more musical numbers like The Sound of Music and Cabaret. But apparently so did Ding Dong, because at that rally this week, 39 minutes of musical numbers and just swaying.
What?
Just swaying. There we are, and Kristi Noem. What is going? Also, can we talk? Like, what is happening to like the new uniform for Republican women, for MAGA women?
Yeah.
What is going on with the new uniform?
What is it?
Which is nothing but like hair extensions.
Sure.
They do some. There's definitely lip filler. There's definitely something going on around their eyeballs. But like, look at the before and after of like Kimberly Guilfoyle and Kristi Noem. Look, they look like normal people beforehand, and then they do all this stuff, and now they're all like, I am skeletal.
Well,
it's like
they made choices. They did make choices.
They made choices, and I'm sure, and you can do whatever you want to your body, to your face. I've said it before, especially when it comes to Madonna. Let Madonna be.
Yeah.
She can do whatever. Don't even come for her. Don't. Look, what Madonna has done to her face. She has created every drag queen's dream. She has made a blank canvas of a face, and you can paint on whatever version of Madonna you want. If you want Blonde Ambition Madonna, you just put it on there. If you want Madam X Madonna, put it on there and give her an eye patch. If you want, whatever. That's what she has done.
I would have been interested in seeing her age naturally and what she could have done with that. She made a different choice, Scott, and that is her prerogative.
Well, her body is still her body.
I mean, how do you know?
Well, the last time we were texting the other night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not really.
I've been texting Audra McDonald.
Have you?
About Gypsy on Broadway.
Has it opened yet?
It has not opened yet, but they're rehearsing.
Oh, how wonderful.
I know. It's going to be epic. Epic. You know this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Audra McDonald.
I don't know. Audra McDonald. Although Eve Butler, when she did it here.
I heard about her performance. Epic. I heard.
We were talking about politics and I steered us
right. My gosh, we're sorry. This is a very serious broadcast.
But Eve Butler was really, really great.
I heard she was amazing.
It was a beautiful production. Anyway, yeah.
So Trump.
So he's look. I mean, really, like, I don't understand how people can like. What is the choice here? This man is like. Well, let's see. First of all, he was swaying around this week.
Yeah.
40 minutes. 39 minutes, sorry, not to exaggerate, 39 minutes of like swaying to, and Rufus Wainwright, going back to him, he was like sent a sternly worded email because you're like, no, you're not using my song.
Yeah.
Like, you please stop, cease and desist.
Did you hear Arnold Palmer's estate released a statement saying how much they hate Trump? People are like, stop invoking like my loved one's name, my music.
Well, at least they're real people. The person he usually brings up is Hannibal Lecter. I'm like, what? That is not a real person. And that person is a serial murderer who ate people.
Do you think he still wants to win? Maybe he's doing this because he really
I think
doesn't.
He does. Wait, Devin, what did you...
Well, the whole thing is he keeps bringing up Hannibal Lecter with asylum seekers, and I literally think he doesn't know the difference between the asylum seekers and the insane asylum.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really what it is. Yeah, no, I think he really wants to win. Like, he has to win, otherwise his butt is going to jail.
Yes. But I mean, what about this behavior indicates that he would want to win?
I don't know. He was on Fox and Friends earlier this week, and I don't know if thank you, internet, but there was he was sitting on something that looked like a pee-pee pad.
That was his coat jacket, actually.
It was a coat jacket? Oh.
I don't like him either, but we need to not.
It was a coat jacket?
Fake news. We're not going to spread fake news.
That's my thing.
Great, thank you. Thank you. I didn't realize that was his coat jacket because it was very
really
large.
Long coats probably to hide the black stains, the brown stains.
There we are. His little doo-doo pockets. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but he is a total grifter. He is selling everything. You got Bibles, you've got gold sneakers, a coin of some sort, a Swiss gold watch that apparently is made in Wyoming. You know, because the Swiss in Wyoming. Oh, he also has a new fragrance called Fight, Fight, Fight. And for $199, you too can smell like strength, power, and victory.
Wow.
The man is grifting America, and he's just trying to line his pockets. Most of the money that he's raising from these PACs have been going to his legal funds.
Yeah.
You know, it is the only explanation is that they're if they win, they'd be like, he's crazy, and now we get JD Vance. Which that would be terrifying.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, did I just...
Well, yeah, I kind of forgot for a second. I had a moment of forgetting.
Yeah, because he's we haven't seen him around. He's kind of utterly inconsequential. He's weird. He's been trying to pull RFK up.
And also, let's just be clear, that debate where he tricked us, I fell for it because he came across as relatively reasonable, accommodating of Tim Walz. He lured Tim Walz into we're going to be nice to each other. And I, for a second, forgot, he's a sociopath. So that's what they do.
Yeah,
they trick us.
He will say anything.
So, because that's not him at all.
No.
And, it's wild.
Yeah. It is very wild. And meanwhile, you've got Kamala Harris flying around the country. She was just in Wisconsin, in 3 different cities in one day in Wisconsin. She's all over the place. She was with Charlemagne the God. She did that Fox interview with Brett Baer, everybody was calming down, she only does friendly interviews. It's well, what do you think Ding Dong has been doing? Yeah. And it was a highly combative interview. But I say, hats off to you, Kamala Harris, for calling out their BS.
Yeah.
It's this is that whole clip about the whole talk of enemy within. If that doesn't have people bristled up.
Yeah.
And a little scared.
It doesn't. Not the people who are going to vote for him.
No, of course not. Because they like that idea.
I mean, it just is all of it is just anxiety inducing for people who aren't going to vote for him. So it's just and apparently emboldening for people who are.
Well, that's a fun thought to have.
It really is. I feel great.
It really is.
I feel great.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about how to navigate
some of that. Yeah. We will be doing that. But it's the really frustrating part is we will not change anybody's mind from that cult. There is this strange allegiance to this person who I really don't know, they can't name any policies that he's done. They can't, promises made, promises kept, what? Nothing happened. The only thing that he passed that benefited anybody was a tax cut that affected the rich. Most people are not doing that. He's going to slap tariffs on everything. That's going to raise the cost of living for so many other people. It is a freaking nightmare, let alone what he's going to be doing with packing the Supreme Court. Even this week, Mitch McConnell, it came out with him in terms of with his biographer saying that he is despicable. He's stupid and he should not be running.
Yes.
Yeah. There we are. So I guess the only thing that we can do is to vote and to make sure that everybody that we know is voting. We got to get your plan to vote. You got to make sure that you can check that you are registered to vote. Early voting throughout Chicago and Cook County starts tomorrow on the 21st. To find your polling place, you can go visit chicagoelections.gov. You can find out if you're registered. You can find out where you can vote early. You can make a plan. Make sure you are calling all of of your friends, your family, your neighbors, just trying to figure out what we can do. And you've got to show up. We have to make this a landslide. Because they are already putting into, they did this the last time, and it's the same playbook. They started in the spring, talking about how the election's going to be rigged, and like if he doesn't win, it's going to be rigged. And it's like, heads I win, tails you cheated. That is what's going to happen. We know that is what's going to happen. So we have to make sure that we get out there and we have our voices heard.
And let's not forget, too, that although we're Illinois and, you might think, oh, that's not going to move the dial, but local elections, judges, all of that is important and imperative, too. So it is our
and school
duty.
Board, which, by the way, if you know people out there who are running for school board or who are part of the teachers union, I do have a bone to pick with you. I'm going to say it right now on the air. Oh. I have reached out several times to the Chicago Teachers Union and to candidates who are running for school board, and I have heard nothing back from them. So either it's because my little show talks about musicals too much and food, or there's something weird. I'm like, it's a very important election, especially what's going on with the Chicago School Board right now. Mm-hmm. With people like planning on resigning, there's all these budget issues.
They did resign, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. It was before.
It was before, and it was leading up to this whole moment. But I'm like, as a former educator and as somebody who still like believes in educating our children, it's like we want to make sure that they are getting the best education possible. So that is a big thing. Anyway, so if you're running for school board, I would love to talk to you. I know you think that like just because I'm a gay and I don't have kids that I don't care, but I do.
He does.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. Very much so. Hey, listen, we should probably take a little break. And callers, hold on the line. We will get to you after the break. So please stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on Chicago's Progressive Talk. Can I get you another Bellini?
Oh my God, yes, please. Give me a Bellini. Please. Something to take the edge off.
Are we on air?
Yeah, we are. We are because this election is stressing me out.
Yeah, it's very stressful. Is this the part where we're talking about health?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just trying to figure out if we need to go. Let's go talk to Roosevelt real quick. Hey, Roosevelt, thank you so much for giving us a call. How you doing today?
How you doing, guys? Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
Listen, only thing you guys haven't mentioned is the fact that Trump left his own cult
stranded.
Followers, stranded.
Yeah.
And if he treats them like that, can you imagine what he's going to do if he goes in there as a president again?
Yeah. But what you're talking about, in case people aren't aware, but he held an event at Coachella, and they bust people in about 5 miles, and then he didn't pay the coaches, like the bus service, so they didn't go pick him up. So his supporters were stranded.
Like the Fire Festival.
Like the Fire Festival, but that was in the Bahamas.
Well, at least, right?
Yeah. But this one, you'd have to walk 6 miles to get to your car in the middle of a dark desert. Like, it's just, it is flabbergasting. I am flabbergasted.
Yes.
And guys, I also want to recommend the Batista video. Did you see that?
I have not seen that, but I saw that
you gotta see it.
What is that?
Every other. I'm sorry.
What is it? I don't know.
Okay, it's pro Harris. He doesn't mention Harris, but he really, really does a job on Trump. I mean, every other word, it's bleeped out. You got to see it.
Okay.
Batista the wrestler. I don't know if you guys...
and the actor... Sorry, sir.
Oh, yeah,
David Batista, the actor.
Yeah,
he is an
name's
actor.
Familiar.
Yeah. I saw that pop up. I didn't. Thank you. I know. I will definitely. We will look at it during the break. Thank you so much for giving us.
If you could play a little bit of it, I don't know how much you could play.
All right. Well,
I don't know how much you could play.
My producer is shaking his head going, we can't play anything. We can't play any of this. So,
really?
All right. So everybody go to your favorite social media. Look up David Batista video. Roosevelt, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.
You too. Hey, I saw it come across, but I it's mental health. Like this whole thing, this is stressing me out. I'm trying to like do a little self-care myself, distance from the social media, which is one of my little techniques to do.
Well, the whole thing being, so, like my angle from Tania's take in terms of like, it is an issue of self-care is a revolution, right? And so we're about to head into a very, very difficult stretch of time, whatever the result is. And to really plan ahead, just like you're going to plan how you're going to vote, you need to plan how you're going to take care of yourself. You have to plan to not, if you need to isolate. If you need to connect. If you need to, watch stupid videos all day, watch stupid videos, whatever it is, really start to think about how can I take care of myself in this time? Because it's going to be incredibly tense and stressful. And we don't want to take it out on each other, right? So one way to sort of manage that is to think about how am I going to take care of myself in this highly stressful time.
Yeah. And here's where my research comes in. Because according to a new Forbes Health survey, more than 60% of respondents said their mental health has either been slightly, moderately, or significantly negatively impacted. There's a lot of adverbs in there.
Yeah.
Slightly, moderately, or significantly negatively aspect. That's more than 60% of respondents by the upcoming election, and nearly half reported feelings of anxiety. An annual poll from the American Psychiatric Association found a similar trend. 43% of surveyed adults said they feel more anxious than they did the year before, an increase from 37% in 2023. And an overwhelming 73% of those surveys said the 2024 election makes them anxious, while 70% they said they feel anxious about current events in general.
Yeah.
So basically what's going on here with this is like an existential threat.
Yes.
It's something that is like, it's like a concept. And they really do a number on our brains. According to an article from Boston University, the tricky thing about existential threats is that, quote, there's no immediate danger to run from, but your brain keeps circling back to these worries, creating a mental loop of anxiety. This can feel even more overwhelming than physical danger because your brain doesn't know when to shut off the alarm.
Ooh.
And I thought that was a really interesting way to put that, because it's like, talking these concepts, these ideas, or something abstract is like, we have only so much control over the outcome, that these threats, like, we don't know when to turn it off. Well,
and I just want to also emphasize the fact that this has been happening since the pandemic, right?
Right. Oh, yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like the chain of elephants, all their tails are linked. Like, it's linked to all the way back to the pandemic, which as a culture we've never really processed and healed from, right? And then even the trauma from Trump initially and George Floyd, and it's all linked, right?
Yeah.
And so this threat that we feel has like so many beginnings, and none of them have gotten to the point of ending or healing. And so it's a lot. It's a lot. And like you were saying, you have to plan how you are going to navigate the next couple of weeks. Some tips that I like, for real, limit your social media and take a step away from the news cycle. Like, of course, we want you to listen to WCPT as often, early and often, as they say in Chicago. But listen to the folks that you definitely like, whether it's like here on the radio or social media or cable news or whatever. 24-hour news cycles are like a news network. You will hear the same thing all day long. You do not need to have it on in the background all day long. It's true. And don't forget that many of those channels are strictly about entertainment. They aren't as much about the news as they are like the gotcha moments, the entertainment aspect. And so like, you don't have to succumb to that, right? In terms of where you're getting your information. Yeah. So like, take some time out, read a newspaper article, from a respected newspaper, listen to people that you like, that you enjoy getting your news from, and then take a break. Step away. Sleep. Eat well. Yeah. If movement helps you, move. Go for a walk, especially today. It's really pretty. Yeah, I've been taking really stunning walks lately, just around my neighborhood, and it's like such perfect weather for it right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if when you're in a moment of true stress, I just hope you we're little angels on your shoulder, because that is the way out.
Yeah.
We don't want to sink deeper.
Yeah.
Right?
And there's also like, I know this is like hard for some people, but to really recognize when you are spiraling, like when what did they talk about, how like the alarm not being able to shut off the alarm, just know that it's okay. You're like, just tell yourself like, hey, you're spiraling.
Right.
Quiet snooze that alarm.
Right.
And we've gotten through hard times. We can get through hard times now.
We will.
But it's, but then really just like realize that you are doing that.
And there was something in there too about the breath, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, there's just like, there's like, for people who are like really feeling panicky about it, let's do something like just a grounding moment. That's like, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you take a breath, and in this moment, you name 5 things that you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. That will clear your mind. That will focus you on the here and now as to what's going on. And then you can be like, all right, how am I doing?
Yeah. And one other real quick one is 2 quick breaths in, 1 long breath out. So that wakes up your system again and kind of helps you reset.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if you feel powerless, continue to live your values. That is that is one big takeaway for me. It's
I love that.
If you are concerned about the environment, if the global warming, climate change is a big thing for you, then all right, then what can you do about it in your world?
Yeah. That's great.
You can sew on a button on a shirt as opposed to throwing it out.
That's so good.
You can, if you compost, like look into ways that you can start composting. You can, if you can walk someplace instead of drive someplace, like you can do things in your world. You alone are not in charge of fixing climate change.
Right.
But you can do your part. And as long as, that part. And be kind and understand, meeting people where they are. Like that's one thing that I've really been noticing too. Like working at the snack factory. People are like a little kooky pants these days. And I was talking to a customer the other day, and like everyone's kind of crazy. I'm like, I think everybody's feeling a little crazy right now because there is this silent alarm going off in our head. Yeah. So
I like to think of it as what is your superpower? So back when the pandemic was happening and people who were good at sewing were making masks. It's like, so that became their superpower, and that became their one small way to help. And thinking about like, what are you drawn to? What are you concerned about? And what do you do really well that you can turn into your superpower to try to help be part of the solution?
Yeah. And there's some, and that leads to civic engagement. If you want to feel like you're having some power, then I guess it's never too late now,
it really
but go ahead and volunteer for a candidate or a phone bank or whatever it is. But there are things, again, it is not up to you, the one person, to change all of these huge, huge problems, but just live your values, live how you create your little tiny version of the world that you would like to see expand. If you model behavior, people will be like, oh, that's pretty great. I think I'll do that too. There are ways that's the kind of thing that I want to spread. Be an example.
And don't let the stress discourage you from voting. Vote.
And they start tomorrow. Early voting across the entire city of Chicago and Cook County starts tomorrow. Again, as a reminder, to find your polling place, you can visit chicagoelections.gov. You should find out if you're registered there. You can find out where you can go vote early, and you have to vote. You know, and also, to help relieve stress, do something that you like. Something that brings you joy. For me, it's cooking.
Right.
So much cooking.
Have you been doing a lot? I've
been doing a lot and kind of trying to delegate authority to Jerry. That didn't go very well.
I was like, how's that going?
Well, it's time to take a break. Actually, it is time to take a break. Hey, remember, go to chicagoelections.gov to find out where your polling place is. And we're going to take a break. There's going to be some news and junk on the other side. And then after that, we're going to come back with the second hour of Out Chicago. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with actor, activist, writer, producer, podcast person, glamour lady, Tania Richard. You are glamour lady.
Aww.
I'm all about this like power clashing. It's like multiple strikes going on over here today.
Match, but it goes.
But it goes. Yes, power clashing is what we call it. Ellen Miller is off today, so that means we get to bask in the beauty and power clashiness that is Tania Richard. Hey, Tania Richard, you actually have a thing happening tomorrow.
I do. So I wrote my memoir, Black Girl from a White Suburb, Finding My Light Using My Voice. And that is seeking publication. In the meantime, I have turned it into a solo piece. And tomorrow will be the first public reading as part of the Commons at American Blues Theater. If you go to their website, you can RSVP. It's free. But you need to RSVP, and it's at 7 p.m., and it'll be the first public reading. And I'm very excited and intrigued as to how it will go, because I have no idea.
Have you had like a little private reading for people?
No, I haven't.
Oh. That is taking the whole toilet paper method. Like, all right, here we go.
I'm very much into taking leaps lately. And I'm like, part of it is audience interaction. I'm like, that's the point of the public reading. It's not meant to be performed. It is a developmental reading.
Of course,
So I'm like, that's the point, is I want to be on that high wire and see what happens.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, there we go. And you get to check out the new American Blues Theater.
Yes, so beautiful, right?
The gorgeous, gorgeous theater.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job. It's over 4001 North Ravenswood, actually.
No,
that's not right. That's not the address
Lincoln,
at all.
I believe.
It's on Lincoln.
It's on
Sorry,
Lincoln.
Wendy.
But that's okay. Wow.
That's another address that was in my head recently.
There we are. Excellent.
But
well, we've got a couple addresses on our brains today. Because,
Exactly.
a little bit later on this hour, we're going to be chatting with a podcaster and more podcasters.
We love podcasters.
We love podcasters, especially ones that are involved with Horrorwood, true crime in Tinseltown. They're going to be doing a live podcast on October 25th at 7:30 at the Venus Cabaret. We're going to chat with Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett a little bit later on this hour. And right now, more stories, more things that are getting out there and being told. It's so exciting because right now the Chicago International Film Festival is underway, and filmmakers are vying for the Q Hugo Award as part of the festival's Outlook series. And joining us now is festival programmer Sophie Gordon. Sophie, welcome to Out Chicago.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. First of all, 60 years. I cannot believe that the Chicago International Film Festival's been going on for 60 years. How incredible is that?
It's really remarkable, right? We're so excited to be celebrating such a monumental anniversary, and we've been doing all sorts of programming all year, but really culminated in the film festival, which started this past Wednesday and is going on right now.
I know. Are you there? Did I pull you away from a screening or something? I feel bad if I did.
Oh, it's all good. I am in between screenings.
All right.
And just love to talk about these films, and so I'm so happy to be able to talk about some of these films in a program that's so dear to my heart.
Yeah. Well, I've got a question for you. So how long has Outlook been a featured part of the festival? I'm sure there's been LGBTQ content throughout the year, but when has it been like, oh, here's the Q Hugo Award? When are we being like, you know what, we are focusing on these stories?
This is a really historic program in our festival. I don't have the exact number of years on me right now, but this is a film that is definitely over 20 years old, or a program that is over 20 years old and has been an integral part of this festival, as, you know, queer and LGBTQ storytelling is so important in cinema and so many other kinds of storytelling and art. So it's something that's always been very important to the festival, you know, starting films by filmmakers like Rainer Werner Fassbender, and coming up to now, we have so many different kinds of queer films that we're showcasing each year. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, well, what sort of queer films do you have that you're screening this year?
Right, I got to make a list.
I know.
Start writing down notes.
Yeah.
We have a lot of really exciting things, and they're all really different from each other, which is so wonderful. Yesterday, we had a world premiere of a film called Thesis on a Domestication from Argentina. I'm mentioning it because we have one more screening of the film tonight, which I highly recommend checking out if you are able to get to the AMC New City this evening. This is a film that follows a trans actress from Argentina, a successful trans actress who has made a name for herself and also has carved out the space that she deserves in the world. And she demands the right to, as she starts kind of a more domestic part of her life, and she falls in love and gets married and starts a family. This is a story of demanding the right to a new kind of trans narrative that includes success and glamour, but also security and family and a lot of contradictions and unapologetic living of her life. Wow. It's a really remarkable film, and we have the film team here for their world premiere in Chicago, so I highly recommend checking this out if you're able to get down here this evening.
I'm like trying to okay, now I'm clicking away trying to find tickets for that. Because, I'm like, how wonderful to finally see oh, look, trans people are complicated and the complex individuals just like everybody else. And their stories are worthy of being told in many different perspectives as opposed to just suffering and,
Exactly. This feels like a really unique and fresh voice coming from a trans creator. So the actress Camila Sosa Villada is also the co-writer, and she wrote a book of the same name, and this is an adaptation of that book. And so this is a process. This film culminated in, a lot of collaboration between the writer and actress, other writers, and the director to create a really deeply empowered trans story from a trans writer and actress herself.
Amazing.
So how many submissions do you generally get?
To the festival or to the Outlook program?
Well, I guess I'm kind of curious about the Outlook program.
Sure. So it kind of depends on the year. I mean, as the person who kind of oversees this program and primarily puts it together, it kind of depends on the year how many queer films that we're seeing out in the world. We seek them out. Yeah. They're not only submitted to us, but they're ones that we search for, and we try and curate a program that tells all kinds of diverse stories of queer and trans people. And so this is, let's see, this year we maybe watched maybe a little bit less than 100 feature films.
That's awesome.
Of LGBTQ films, but and ended up with a program of 10 that are specifically in our Outlook program, 10 feature films. But we have more kinds of queer stories that are woven into the festival as well, because it's really wonderful to see queer storytelling start to become not necessarily just a thing that's protagonistic in films, but also something that's really integral as parts of other kinds of stories.
Yes. And I love the due diligence there, which is that, yes, people can submit, but also you are taking on the responsibility of going out and seeking the work, because so often people will be like, well, no one submitted. Oh, well, and it's like, no, if you want to diversify, you need to take on that responsibility to go the places where the work is being made as well.
Exactly. And really wanting to find these queer stories that inspire us and that we really feel the need to share with our audience here in Chicago. Yeah. And these are stories from all around the world as well, which is quite wonderful.
I know. So, I was going to say we've got an Argentine film. What other films are part of the Outlook program of the Chicago International Film Festival that's going to be running through October 27th?
Another one I'd love to highlight is a really lovely Irish comedy called Four Mothers. We also have the filmmaker here to present the film, which is such a wonderful opportunity to be able to discuss the film with the filmmakers after the screening. And this is a comedy that follows a gay Irish writer who is a writer of young adult fiction and starts to find success after having written for a very long time. His novel starts to become popular in the U.S. But he's also the primary caretaker for his mother, who lives at home with him and has recently suffered a stroke. And so this is a film, really just delightful Irish comedy that follows him as he's starting to gain success in the U.S. and starting to plan a book tour and all sorts of things that are really fulfilling his kind of destiny as a writer, while also navigating life at home with his mother, but not only his mother, but a few of his friends in his queer community decide that they also want to go to a pride celebration in the Canary Islands and thus leave all of their mothers with him as he stays in Ireland. And so this really is a film of four mothers and one man who is kind of taking care of all of these very different women and navigating, his own relationships and his own queerness while also trying to live his life as a writer.
Love it.
Oh my God, I love that. And can you get him at some point to say 33? Because tartitry. I love tartitry when the Irish say 33. I don't know why. I'm a weirdo.
Suggestion.
I'm a weird person. He'll be like, stop it.
Maybe I'll put in that request. I'll ask the director to just give us a little taste of that in the Q&A.
Yeah, you'll just set him up somehow in the Q&A.
Yeah, there we go. But create a little setup. I like that idea.
Again, I'm a garbage person. Your accent delights me. Say 33. That's awful. Okay, so aside from me accosting all of the Irish filmmakers that are going to be there, what other countries are featured as a part of the Outlook program?
We have so many different countries featured in this program. We have Brazil, we have Vietnam, we have Romania, we have films from right here in Chicago. These are, and like I said, these films really are so different from each other and tell such unique and special and varied stories of queer people around the world. And one that I want to highlight is from Brazil, because this is really a film that celebrates queer joy. As you were saying earlier with Thesis on a Domestication, like queer stories are so much more complex and dynamic and empowered than just stories of suffering or adversity, and while those stories are absolutely, of course, important to tell, especially from around the world. This film, Baby from Brazil, is a really wonderful story of queer joy. And this follows a young man who has recently left a juvenile detention center, and he leaves and finds that his family is nowhere to be found. And he strikes up a friendship and a relationship with an older man who takes him under his wing and kind of into his queer family and begins to teach him new ways of surviving on the streets of Sao Paulo. And so this is a film that has a really empowered and kind of celebratory view of sex work and finding empowerment in that, and also a really beautiful central relationship between these two men who have a very complicated dynamic of, they are lovers, but there's also a little bit of kind of mentor-mentee, kind of a boss-employee aspect at some points, but also, interestingly, somewhat of kind of like a father and son. And so this is a really complex relationship that is explored really beautifully in this film, and also focuses on queer community in Sao Paulo. And so I highly recommend this film. It really is a film of queer joy, which is such a delight to be able to share stories of queer joy every year. Yeah,
100%. So, Sophie, clearly you are a devotee of film. You love the medium. Can you put your finger on it? Like, what was your gateway drug into like the movies world? Where you're like, I saw this film and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, what was your like entry into the cinematic world? And then what is for you? What does the power of movies hold for you?
Those are beautiful questions. I've loved film my entire life. Some of my earliest memories are of loving and obsessively watching certain movies over and over and over again.
Like what? I want to know which ones.
When I was really little, two of my favorite films were The Princess Bride and Young Frankenstein.
Yes! Oh my gosh, Sophie.
From when I was a teeny tiny kid.
Done.
And I just watched them on repeat.
Done.
But I feel like excellent films, right?
Uh-huh.
I still have them memorized. But I think a turning point for me in terms of wanting to work in film and work in this medium was when I was in middle school. Again, too young to be watching these films. And I started watching the films of Pedro Almodovar.
Wow.
Who remains one of my favorite filmmakers. Yeah. I, apart from queer cinema, I also kind of specialize in Spanish language and Latin American cinema. And so it's really wild years later to be looking back and thinking about watching Pedro Almodovar films when I was like 13 years old, too young to be watching stories like this. But I fell in love and I was completely entranced by this kind of dynamic storytelling, telling stories about women, the complex inner lives of women and queer people. And I look back, and that was so formative for me. And now kind of the two things that I focus on in my work are Latin American and Spanish language stories and LGBTQ stories. And so I have Pedro Almodovar to thank for that.
Oh my gosh, you have manifested this festival.
That's so cool.
You know? Oh yeah,
Truly,
I think Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down is perfect for a middle school.
Sure.
Sleepover party. You know.
I love that you mentioned that one. That's one of my favorites, and I have the poster on my wall at home.
Ah, there we are. Sophie, we need to hang out more because I can definitely. I will quote along Young Frankenstein with you. Top to bottom,
love it.
The whole thing.
Amazing.
Yes, it's fantastic. And what's even more fantastic is that we have something like the Chicago International Film Festival right here in our city because the name is even in the title,
Right.
Chicago International Film Festival, and it runs through October 27th. For more information on the Outlook competition and for all of the films, that it sounds like it is an incredible tapestry. Head to ChicagoFilmFestival.com. For how to find where the theaters are and get tickets and all the films and everything. Sophie Gordon, thank you so much for taking time out between screenings and have a wonderful festival.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for chatting about film, and I hope to see you at the festival. I'll be here. So
Great.
Come say hi.
And I will bring the popcorn for when we put the candle back. There we are. All right, Sophie Gordon, festival programmer for Chicago International Film Festival. We have got to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right after this.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff and Tania Richard there. We're just rolling along. Listen, it is spooky season.
It is.
Which means all of our spooky true crime dreams are coming true this week. Because Horrorwood, True Crime in Tinseltown, the award-winning podcast hosted by Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett that delves into the dark underbelly of Hollywood, is taking its captivating and spooky stories to the stage for the first time in Chicago on October 25th at the Venus Cabaret Theater. And lucky for us, we have Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett with us right now. Kate and Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What an introduction.
I love it.
Ripped from the press release.
I love it.
Oh my God. Well, first of all, congratulations, my friends. Podcast of the year. Not too shabby.
Thank you very much. That was through the American Writing Awards, and that was a surprise and an honor.
Yeah, and wonderful. Grab that and put that logo on everything. That's everything. Create merch.
T-shirts, everything.
Yep, I got you. I got a question for you, because the two of you clearly have known each other since like Jesus was in diapers. So how did you two meet?
Yeah, so we met while we were both working at Timeline Theater here in Chicago, and we became fast friends, and even after we both moved on from Timeline, we stayed connected and stayed really good friends, and now I make him work with me.
That was about 10 years ago that
That's
Kate and I met. It's crazy. And Kate was house managing. I was in the box office. We spent a lot of time together, got to know each other. And yeah, it's a wonderful friendship blossomed.
Well, I know like during, shows that happen and you're like front of house, I'm sure thoughts just naturally turn to true crime. Is that like how it happened? It's like, by the way, I was reading this story where,
front of house, you think about murdering a lot of,
Well, that's true.
patrons, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
So So how did the podcast come about? How did you two discover your love of all things true crime?
So I actually started it a couple years ago, and I have lived in LA for a while and had a lot of stories from LA that could be a whole separate podcast or 5. And started the show. I got really interested in just true crime related to the entertainment industry specifically. And about a year ago, I brought Kevin on because he is a true crime aficionado and loves horror, and he's been an amazing addition.
Yeah, I've been a fan of true crime podcasts since, oh my God, forever, especially when My Favorite Murder first came out. So I just kept going down that rabbit hole. I've always loved horror movies and just hauntings and stuff in general. So it was a perfect fit when Kate asked me to join.
Yeah. Well, hey, so I've got hauntings. I knew you guys were coming on the show today, and I was thinking about hauntings and because I know the podcast is full of spooky stuff and LA things and it's wonderful. And I was emptying my dishwasher, and there was one glass. Everything else was dry and sparkly and wonderful. And there was one glass that was foggy. And I'm like, oh no, this glass is haunted. Do you think...
It's a demon glass.
Can a glass be haunted? Are you, as you are diving into these stories, are you deciding, figuring out, what can be haunted or what isn't hauntable?
I think everything is haunted and can be haunted. And I think you should take that glass to an exorcist.
I've already buried it in the yard, so I will dig that out.
That's perfect.
That's good. That's wise. Yeah, we like to focus on, in terms, in addition to true crime, getting into haunted theaters specifically, and because every theater is haunted.
Oh, yeah.
And finding out the stories and why they're haunted and who died there and who still haunts there. That's really fun.
It's crazy how many people die in theaters. You know what I mean?
Girl, I've died a couple of times. I've died a couple of times in the theater. Some real stinkers.
If any one of us had missed that opportunity, we would not even have a right to call ourselves entertainers.
Well, so when you're talking about spooky haunted Chicago theaters, are there any theaters in Chicago that are particularly spookified?
Well, there's definitely the Biograph. There's the Nederlander. Which is actually, we're looking at it right now in our mirror.
The Nederlander is terrifying because of who owns it. A terrible
wow, okay.
I'll stop there. The man who owns the Nederlander, man, he's spooky, all right.
All right, well, there we go.
Okay, anyway, keep going.
Broadway in Chicago was a very proud supporter about Chicago.
Amazing.
Wait, who's haunting the Nederlander?
So that is where
No, go ahead.
The big fire was decades and decades and decades ago.
I think it was originally called the Iroquois Theater. I think that was the name. But yeah, there was a giant fire there, and this was before anything, any kind of safety precautions were intact, especially around performance venues.
All of the fire, quote unquote, escapes, the doors were actually locked from the outside, so no one could get out. So literally hundreds
of people died in that fire.
There is an alley behind that theater called Death Alley, and I think we might want to take some dowsing rods through there one day.
Very haunted place.
Yeah.
I walk through that alley all the time to get to the Goodman.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Did not know it was haunted. We'll be taking the sidewalk.
The long run. Yeah, the long way around. Wow,
that's
I just got a little goosebumpy things here.
It's creepy.
In your journeys with horror and true crime, have you ever encountered something that just really freaked you out?
Well, I think some of the crimes specifically, I mean, the haunting stuff doesn't necessarily freak us out. I think it's cool more than anything.
Yeah.
But some of the crimes that we've covered have been just downright horrific. And I wasn't even into true crime until recently. And just learning about sort of the psychology of some of these people and just the sheer violence of it. And a lot of it has happened in places that I used to frequent and know very well. And so it just adds another level to that of, the history of those places.
In general, do you find that you're like a jumpier person because you're always sort of in this world, like, or are you kind of immune to it?
That's a good question. I think I used to be way more freaked out. And now, I used to be, not to get super morbid, but I used to be terrified of death and dying. And through all of the research we've done for these episodes, like, I'm not anymore.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's just learning about a lot of these cases and the scientific things that happen to a body when it dies.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, mean, I don't get freaked out about it.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially with us covering true crime, there is sort of this survival instinct or fascination with covering these cases because, we're not all murderers out here. And it's like...
Speak for yourself.
Well,
I've also murdered in a theater, too.
Exactly. But, there's something so crazy about what people are capable of. And kind of knowing that almost, yes, it makes you more safe and more cognizant of things around you. But, there's a fascination with the true crime aspect. And I think we want to keep ourselves safe and we want to know what the monsters are. We want to know what's going on out there and what people are capable of. Because it's terrifying. And weekly, Kate and I sit in a closet and talk about it.
Right.
And some of the things we bring up, it's just like Kate will say, well, and this person was, and I'm like, Kate, it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, it's a little much for a morning recording.
Wow.
We've conjured plenty of demons in that closet.
Yeah.
I bet.
I'm just kind of like, the thought of talking about some of these things that early in the morning is just like, oh, no.
It can be rough.
Yeah. But fortunately, you won't be doing that early in the morning when you go to the Venus Cabaret Theater. Yes. You're going to be bringing the show. Is this your very first live show?
It is.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I know they're like...
We're so excited.
We can't do any spoilers. But can we do like little teasing of what might be happening? Because it's perfect for spooky season. We're coming up. It'll be on Friday the 25th at 7:30 at the Venus Cabaret Theater.
Yes.
What can audiences expect?
So if they've listened to the podcast, they can expect a similar format, but it's going to be slightly different. If they've never listened to the podcast, it's all going to be a fun surprise. It's going to include both some haunted stuff, some true crime stuff, obviously entertainment stuff, and we have a very strong connection to Chicago with the topic that we're covering. So I think people will be interested, whether they're into crime or not, there's going to be something for everyone in there.
Nice.
It's all about Oprah. It's all about Oprah.
I was listening earlier, and I'm going to have to go to You're Being Ridiculous next month because I need to know more about when you huffed Oprah.
The night I huffed Oprah?
Hilarious.
Oh, I don't know. It's all about, it is definitely a haunting. That experience.
I love it.
So this is going to be your first live show. Very exciting. What are you hoping all our little ghoulish people out there that are going to come to see the show hope they take away from it?
I hope they just have a great time and get excited for Halloween and have fun and laugh. And I hope it makes them think, and I hope it makes them learn something that they didn't know about this city that they're living in. And we like to do a deep dives on our research, and so we try to always bring something new that is a little different from the same info everyone's heard about a certain topic.
Yeah, and we're telling stories. Like, this is definitely a storytelling show, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Will there be spooky sound effects? Because I love a spooky sound effect.
There's going to be spooky music.
Okay, there we go.
Works.
That works. That works for me. Mm-hmm. Will there be the sound of a cat going "Rear" and a garbage can falling over? Because that is spooky and hilarious.
What I would love is if you could come to the show and do those sound effects for us.
I will be your Foley artist. I will be your Foley artist right there for you. Well, this sounds like, I mean, if you are y'all fans of Halloween? I guess with the macabre, I'm assuming, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
What are you dressing up as?
Okay, so I have a dog and a boyfriend, and we want to all match. So we're debating between, my dog is named Frankie. We're debating between Dr. Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and Frankenstein's monster, or she's going to be a little cop, and we're going to be inmates. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, how about you?
I'm going to go, I think, in a support of Wicked as the Wicked Witch of the West.
I love it.
Oh, like go full green?
Full green. Bring it on. I want the
Amazing.
box paint. I want to be covered. I want to cackle.
I love it.
I'm ready to do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm ready to see it and to experience it. Although whenever I get like makeup as a part of my costume, I look great when I head out the door, and then by the time I get back, it's like,
Because it's
what
always
just happened?
raining on Halloween.
Well,
always.
Absolutely. I dressed up as a pumpkin once and went full orange on my face. You should have seen my clothes at the end of that night.
like a
gosh.
melting Oompa Loompa right there.
Yeah, exactly. With the green hair, yeah.
I love. Oh my gosh, so. Are you encouraging costumes for people when they come see Horrorwood, True Crime in Tinseltown at the Venus Cabaret Theater?
So we're not, people can wear whatever they wish. If
There
they
we
want
go.
to come in costume, great. If they want to wear jeans, great. If they want to wear pajamas, bring it. Like, let's go.
Or a ball gown.
I mean, yeah, whatever makes you feel fabulous.
Love it.
Right on. Well, I know I will be there with my ball gown on and getting ready to make creepy cat and garbage can sound effects for you. Well, make sure that you, if you really want to ring in the holiday season that is Halloween, make sure you check out Horrorwood, True Crime in Tinseltown. It takes to the stage at the Venus Cabaret Theater on October 25th at 7:30 p.m. For tickets, is it better for them to go through your website or through the Mercury Theater website?
They can go to
bit.ly/horrorwood.
bit.ly-horrorwood. See, I figured it might be better if they go through you. Yeah, go do that. Go do that. Buy your tickets and have a fabulously spooky time. Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett, thank you so much for joining us today. Break legs. Just question, are you going to go see the show that's at the Nederlander right now? Is that what are you still in front of there?
It's currently sitting, we're looking at it through the rearview mirror right now.
Oh, you put it behind you.
Go. We're gonna
Take that, J.K. Rowling. All right. We put you on our rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Although the show is really, really great. Anyway, but it's not going to be half as good as Horrorwood, True Crime in Tinseltown on October 25th at Venus Cabaret Theater. Kate McCoy, Kevin Corbett, break all the legs, and happy Halloween.
Have fun.
Thank you. You as well.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Wait, I have to check that out. Really?
Yeah, she's very,
Did she pass?
Yes.
No.
Okay, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure she did. We're talking about whether Renee Taylor is still with us.
She is.
She's 91 years old.
Get out.
Yes, stop. She's still with us.
Oh my God, I'm a
Don't
bad person.
do that to me.
I'm
Don't
so
do
sorry,
that to
Renee.
me.
I am
You tricked
sorry.
me. See, again, tricks.
Ooh,
I don't like
was wrong.
tricks.
I'm sorry.
Okay, phew. All is well in the world. Renee Taylor's okay. Oh man. Welcome back to Out Chicago. Giving me heart attacks.
I'm sorry.
Here. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hey, but we are spooky season. Are you a fan of true crime?
I have been. You know,
Like the true crime podcast in
not
particular?
the podcast.
Oh,
I
see.
like my Dateline, my 48 hours.
Listen.
Uh-huh.
You need to go look up the Dateline long form podcasts that are true crime.
Yeah.
Like the thing about Pam.
Oh, right.
A Role to Die For. You know, all these. They.
I love. Well, I can give them a try. There have been some true crime podcasts that I like, but I'm not a general fan.
Aside from Horrorwood, which we are all huge fans of.
Now,
True Crime
here's the
Intensive
thing.
Tan.
It's so funny because I feel like I've been a true crime fan before it was like trendy. And
you were into it before it was cool.
I was first. And I also sort of thought I wasn't like as common as, like everybody loves true crime. I was like, I thought I was special. But so I feel like separated from the current culture of true crime. And I go back to when it was like just on TV. And I still watch 48 Hours. And I'm convinced.
You're the one.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I still like it for reasons that other people don't because I have to be special, Scott.
You are special. There is something.
So I am a fan. I am.
It was really interesting listening to Kate talk about how it's kind of helped her work through some things.
Which is interesting.
Every time I encounter this might be a gross, I have zero data to support this, but it seems like the majority of the people who are big fans of true crime are women.
Yes. And I have the theory for that.
Go.
I know
what
about
is yours?
That.
Because
so the women who do My Favorite Murder, is that right?
Yeah.
I think their initial reason for doing that podcast was to sort of think of all of the angles in which they could be killed.
I know.
Seriously.
Seriously.
And a lot of women are trying to sort of anticipate the fear of being killed, right? That's literally the psychology behind it. But it's gotten now to such an extreme that it's conditioned a lot of this heavy female audience to fear everything. And to think everything is a potential threat. And so I remember listening, that show Maintenance Phase? I think it was Maintenance Phase. Or there was another show that those folks are also involved with. And they did a deep dive on why true crime is so popular and also sort of the reasons why it's not such a great thing. Because it does. In fact, when I was really into it, it affected my relationship with Bill when we first met because he was so great and did everything right. And I was like, well, and then there's such a format with true crime that it's like, he was wonderful. They get married and he's a murderer.
Yeah.
So I was
with
like,
a secret
convinced,
basement.
Right. And I was like, he bought me flowers once after an argument, and then I was asked my sister, "Is this the cycle of abuse?
Oh no,
has it begun?" You know what I mean?
Or he's just being a real nice guy.
He was being a great guy. So it'll mess with your head. I also think I'm a little less into it now because it's just lately I'll watch and be like, that was really sad. Like, oh, that person was killed.
Yeah. There is. Have you seen Grotesquerie?
No.
I believe it is a Ryan Murphy thing. Ryan Murphy's all over the place right now. With Niecy Nash.
Yeah.
And she's like a detective with like a big drinker, like a raging alcoholic. But everything is kind of like excess, it's grotesque. She has a morbidly obese daughter. She has a really big drinking problem and everything. And there's some murders that are happening in this town.
Yeah.
And the murders are awful. I mean, there's not such a good thing. There's no such thing as a good murder. But but I'm watching this and going like, oh, like you said, these people got murdered.
They got themselves murdered. Well, not that they didn't get themselves murdered.
No,
someone murdered them.
They were murdered. And it's like, it's a lot.
Let's talk about something I think that's very important. What's going on with Ryan Murphy?
Look, Ryan Murphy is cashing checks left and right.
Holy cow. First of all, he's everywhere.
He is, just like Visa.
He produces Dr. Odyssey. He produces 911, 911 Lone Star, and then all of these shows on Netflix. What's going on?
He's living his best life.
He's living his best life.
Not figuring out how to end a story.
Dang.
He does not know how to end a story. Ugh. Like, I first fell in love with him. Ryan Murphy was like American Horror Story. I was like, yeah. Well, actually, I guess go a little bit further back with Glee.
Sure.
Because I'm like, oh, this is great. It feels like that movie Election, which if you haven't seen, you need to go see
movie.
it. It's fantastic. Like good old Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Broderick.
Yes.
hilarious and dark and a dark look on high school.
Yes.
Which I thought Glee was going in that way, or at least quirkier. And then it just became a hit. It just became a jukebox thing, and they just wanted to sell iTunes stuff. So I was like, a little bit of that. But
anyway.
He's everywhere.
He needs to
He's
maybe take a little break.
Well, but then we go to like true crime too. Like it came to like his Monsters series with Dahmer and the Menendez brothers.
Yes.
There's going to be another one. I don't know how to feel about that, because these are real.
These are real. I think he's really it's a misstep with the Monsters about the Menendez brothers, because he apparently thinks it's like campy and comedy. And it's like, this was their life, and they murdered their parents, and according to them, were horribly abused. So how are we making this campy and gossipy and,
Well, because like Jerry was in LA at that time. Like he lived in LA, and it was the talk of the town.
Well,
in LA.
I was obsessed with the trial. I'm not saying I don't understand.
But in terms of the tone, but the tone of being in LA was very gossipy, very, they were saying like we saw them do weird things at parties. We saw, there was. Yeah, I can see that, but I understand what you're saying.
He's imposing on it.
Yeah,
that first of all, he has no evidence of, and I mean, the Menendez brothers themselves were like, don't add, are like, we wish he had not made this movie, and he's basically like, they should be thanking
me. Yeah,
right.
And
then the thing about that too is like, as much as if the story of the abuse is true, it is horrific. But they did murder their parents.
Yeah.
and people have
murdered their parents.
Yeah, and sort of revised it to they were abused and it was a moment of self-defense. And it wasn't.
Well, that we know of. I mean, because there were things that weren't admitted into evidence.
Well, you can't claim self-defense if it was like his parents were sitting watching television. Like they weren't in immediate danger.
Yeah.
But have they served their time? I mean, it's been 30-some years. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyway.
Any hoozle.
So Ryan Murphy's he's a busy girl.
He's got a lot going on.
She's got stuff to do.
And I think it's pretty presumptuous to say that, the Menendez brothers should be kissing their feet.
You can't finish the story at all.
It's like Saturday Night Live. They don't know how to end the skit.
No. Role reversal. That's how you do it. Or a callback to the very beginning.
Well, sure.
That's how I would do it. Sorry. That is how you finish a skit. Anyway, so we are spooky season.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of horror movies. Do you have any go-to? I know you were saying that the girls wanted to watch a horror movie.
A scary movie. They were like, let's watch, not Get Out, the other one by Jordan Peele. Us. No, we watched Us. There's another one they wanted to watch. I was like, sure, yeah. But what I want to bring them up to date on, I think I just want them to watch Halloween.
Yeah.
Because that's old school.
Yeah, it's
And then
classic.
you have the gentleman from Nightmare on Elm Street, which is my favorite.
That was the second one.
Oh, he was in the second one.
He was in the second one. And that's a really interesting documentary. It's called My Nightmare on Elm Street, about how that movie ruined his career.
Yes, you told me.
Yeah, it was.
I loved all of them. I love those movies. I wonder if I looked back now, whether they aren't as scary as I remembered, but I love those.
They were very scary. Well, because like that's one of those things that freaks me out. Like it's the paranormal. Like this haunted
brain.
Glass that I have in my house now.
Oh, sure.
This glass is haunted.
I don't know, Scott.
It might be.
I'm not sure.
Look,
Maybe
Annabelle.
just foggy?
Annabelle. She could come around. The haunted doll.
No.
Okay. See, any sort of paranormal stuff, things that you just can't really explain, that gets under my skin.
It gets under my skin, and of course, Nightmare on Elm Street is about someone entering your nightmares. So it was very suggestive, and like got under your skin in a way that other horror movies don't.
Yeah.
But then Halloween is such a classic, and Michael Myers, man, he is
Jamie Lee Curtis.
I know.
I love it. And
what's your favorite?
I think it's probably Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I want to watch with the girls.
I love it so much.
Yeah, the music.
John Carpenter wrote the score for it.
That music to this day. How amazing is that?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Devin, how about you? You were saying that you compiled a list of things that are going on.
Yes, through Peacock, which I recommend if you have.
Streaming's
a bit, but yes. I just finished up the second I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which was terrible compared to the first one.
Of course, yeah.
I think next on my list is going to be Jennifer's Body.
Excellent.
I'm going to probably rewatch Child's
Megan
Play
Fox.
2. Yes.
Child's Play 2. Now, when did we get the Bride of Chucky? That's when we get Jennifer Tilly coming in there.
Okay.
And that's lovely. One of my my newer movies that I'm obsessed with, if you want like just a genuinely scary and creepy movie, it's an Argentine film, to go back to the Chicago International Film Festival. It's called When Evil Lurks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, it is like it's there. It just launches off. It's like, but it's a slow launch because you're all of a sudden you're like, just see these two guys walking through the woods, walking through a field, and they're having their conversation, and they're going over to someone's house because he is possessed by a demon.
Oh.
And everybody just knows that demons exist and that this demon is there.
Ooh.
And it's very real, and it is amazing. It's really good, very, very creepy, and it is some amazing filmmaking.
Couple more of my favorites: Trilogy of Terror.
The
The Initiation of Sarah movies from the 70s. Like, these are way back.
I don't know the Initiation of Sarah.
Morgan Fairchild.
Oh.
You gotta, if you can find these.
All right. We watched something just recently. Oh, and it was with her name just went out my head. With Lauren Hutton. Some Lauren Hutton made for TV movie.
Oh.
It was wonderful. It was
Really?
so bad. Yes. And that cap tooth.
I love those.
I love Lauren Hutton.
Yeah. She's a beauty.
She was a beauty.
Yes.
There we are. I can't remember it. Anyway, but When Evil Lurks, Halloween, The Exorcist. Again, I kind of like the things like when you don't.
That Omen. Oh my.
The Omen.
Maybe we should watch the
Oh my God. I work with a guy named Damien. He just transferred into the store. And every time I run into him, I go, I did it for you, Damien. And then I pretend to jump off.
That is one of the scariest moments of all of cinema. That darn nanny. It still haunts me.
There we are. There you go. I think you should play. We've got an answer. Winner, chicken dinner.
For Omen?
For Omen. It's that scene when
oh my gosh,
because it's who's the nice lady in it?
Ellen Burstyn.
No,
dang it,
she's in The Exorcist. Another one with the fluffy hair.
Well, and then in that last shot with the kid.
Yep, there we are. All right. Well, we hope we've gotten. That's the end of another episode about Chicago right here. I want to thank all of our guests: Sophie Gordon from the Chicago International Film Festival, and Kate McCoy and Kevin Corbett from Horrorwood True Crime in Tinseltown. Devin. Amazing.
Give it up
we
for
got Henry
Devin.
back there. Thank you, Henry, for taking over for that no good neck Paul. He does nothing, Paul. Nothing. Thank you, Henry. Tania Richard, white girl from a black white girl. I really bit that one. I bit that one.
White girl from a
black suburb. There.
He's dying
Oh
back
my
there.
God, I can't even believe I did that. Girl, that was that movie with Michelle Pfeiffer when she...
The countless movies.
Sorry. Black Girl from White Suburb tomorrow at American Blues Theater. Go. I owe you $1 million right now.
I love that so much.
I love you
Yes,
so much.
I
Thank you
love
for joining
you.
us. And I'm Scott Duff. Until next week, stay proud.